Mindy Stearns.
And I'm Glenn Stearns.
And this is Grit Happens. Join us as we engage in candid conversations with some of the most successful people in every field and from every walk of life, all with the common thread of grit and a goal of not just surviving, but thriving.
And we hope that the show will help you feel informed, energized, and especially inspired.
So let's get started. This is Grit Happens.
Hey, we're back with another episode of Grit Happens. And today we're continuing our series on, straight from the book, really. It's all about integrity and it's about giving back. And I'm very excited about today's guest.
I am so excited myself.
I like a little schoolgirl in a way because this
Literally.
guy, he's got these burning blue eyes. I know you can't see him on a podcast, but they're there and they'll get you. If you ever, you'll be magnetized, you'll be mesmerized by his gaze because that's just the magic he has over people. It's an incredible story. Do you want to say a little thing before I make an
Why
intro?
don't you start, dear?
Okay, I know when to save your voice and save the conversation. This gentleman we know for the Horatio Alger Association, a dear friend we have had the pleasure to meet, such an incredible human being, president of High Point University since 2005. He came to America speaking no English, less than $100 in his pocket. He's the youngest of 5 kids. He's authored multiple books. He's raised millions for High Point University. He is the founder of the National Speaker Association, emeritus on the board. He is incredible. There's so much to say about this man. I wish we had more than the time we have because we could do a whole day on him. But I just want to welcome him to our Grit Happens podcast. Please say hello to Dr. Nido Qubein. Welcome.
Hello, Mindy. Hello, Glenn. What a pleasure being with both of you. And I'll tell you what, I may have written a lot of books. None of them looked as good as Integrity. And none of them sound as good. None of them as profoundly useful and meaningful in people's lives. So the two of you I hold in the highest esteem, and I am thrilled and delighted to be with you.
Oh, likewise.
I tell you, Nido, I went and did it. I wrote the book. It took 3 years. And knowing you've written, I don't know.
What, 15? How many have you written now? You have over 15, right? At least.
Well, I wrote really 12 books hardcover, and then there are 5 or 6 other little gift books. Yes.
Wow.
So I, kind of my first entree, so to speak, into your world. But I am very, I guess, humbled by, the fact that, I thought I'm never going to write a book. I mean, who wants to read it? And after doing that little TV show, there was a lot of people that kind of came and said, gosh, they really, got something out of the show, and it touched me. And I thought, well, maybe, all right, I'll go and expose my flaws to the world and let's see what happens.
Oh,
right?
and does he expose?
Yeah. And, but you know what I do? We're excited to have you. And what a lot of people out there, our big connection is through Horatio Alger, and that plays a part in the book very much in my life, should I say. And, getting to know you through the association has been amazing. I mean, not only are you a member, but you play such a pivotal role in the Horatio Alger by being able to interview a lot of the young students that we all get to meet and get to help in their education. And obviously you're a master at being able to sit and pull out wonderful nuggets of information that get us to realize there's hope, and there's so much that comes from these comes from adversity, basically, right? And so you've got a gift, and I've been very honored to get to know you and real excited that you're here. So thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you so much. I think Horatio Alger has a noble purpose, as the three of us know. And what attracted me to it is not so much it's a distinction, award, you meet great people. What attracted me to it is that it's really planting seeds of greatness in the minds, hearts, and souls of people, right? So the reason it's important that you wrote this book is when you write a book like this, it's not about you. It's not about people saying how smart and wonderful you are. We all know both of you have been exceptionally successful. You're very intelligent. You've done a lot of good in your life. But I think you have a duty. I think it's a responsibility that if you have some ideas that you believe can help other people, I do believe that you have a duty to share that data, that information with people so they can benefit from it. So that's really the value of a great book. The second value, I think, is that it's for all time. You just do not know, Glenn. You may never know how many hands this book lands in and how someone's life could be influenced and impacted. Hopefully you'll hear about all of them, but that's impossible. There are going to be so many people who will read this book and benefit from it. You'll inspire their life and you'll propel them forward and in ways that you can't even imagine. And again, you may never be able to stratify or really quantify all of that information. That's why a book is so important. And when it's written in an autobiographical form, where you're actually telling a story. I mean, I looked at the book I read now, probably 75 pages. It is, everybody should have that book, because what America and the world need today are real life stories where someone had an idea, busted their buns to get there, took some serious risks, had faith, had courage, and marched forward and learned and extracted from that experience valuable lessons. So there'll be people who are significantly successful in life who will benefit from this book, and there will be people who haven't done anything much yet, but this book will absolutely allow them, inspire them, emote within them the reason that they can, that they're enough, and they can make good things happen. So listen, I honor you for writing the book. I intended to give it to everybody who's in my employ here and student. Is this weekend. I'll know exactly how that fits with who, and I thank you for doing it. It is tough to write a book, especially when you unveil and reveal some personal information in the book. It's really tough, and you worry about, who did I leave out, who did I not mention, did I say the right thing, and all of these things.
Right.
I've struggled through those in my own life, but you're great. But you know your greatest accomplishment, Glenn? I've now know who you are, and I've been privileged to know you. Your greatest accomplishment is not the book. It's not the lending business. It's not being on TV. She's sitting on your left-hand side.
I know,
He's a
exactly.
very smart man, ladies and gentlemen. Listen and heed every word he said.
You know, but I will tell you, to your point, besides this wonderful lady here, your point about to much is given, much is required, right? The old saying there. And but it's not about what was given, because like you, I mean, I grew up, you know, I failed 4th grade. I was dyslexic. I had a child at 14 years old. My parents struggled with alcoholism, all those kind of things. You know, you came here with your father passed away at 6 years old. Your mother had a 4th grade education. You came at 17 years
You
old.
didn't speak English. You had less than $100 in your pocket. You know, this book is dedicated to the underdogs in the world. And I think many of us who have risen above have started as underdogs, and we can speak to that nature. And can you walk us a little bit about like your story? And is there someone in your life who was a mentor who really impacted you in a significant way that changed the trajectory of your life? Because Horatio Alger is a lot about the mentors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are as good as the circles of influence in which we choose to reside. We are as good as the choices we make in life. I like to say there's no such thing as unrealistic dreams and only unrealistic timelines. I like to say that the circumstances in which we find ourselves do not determine where we end up. They only tell us where we start. So there's hope for all of us. And for me, my life got to a tipping point because of all the turning points I had. So turning point number one, at age 6, my daddy died, never really known him in person. Amazon did the story of my life, asked me the question, could have changed one thing in your life, what would it be? I know the answer. If I could have changed one thing in my life, I'd much rather have had a dad who could read me a book, taken me to the circus, thrown me a Frisbee, or just talk with me man to man. But that was not my fate. But here's the amazing thing, and that's what your book also tells us. And that is, out of adversity can emerge abundance. That the spirit of anticipation is all powerful. That if you get up in the morning and say, look, yes, I can, the word impossible only appears in the dictionary. It's really, I am possible. Then all of a sudden, the word I can't disappears from the vocabulary. So my mother, Mindy, borrowed money to send me to America on a one-way ticket. And I came to America and I went to a little school because that's the only one who would accept a kid like me. And I worked through college, very, very hard. I worked through college. And then I went, I transferred to Hypo University. It was Hypo College then. My junior and senior year, then University of North Carolina, Greensboro for graduate work. I came out of graduate school, I'd saved $500 and I started my first business. And within about 2-3 years, I built with 68,000 customers in 32 countries. It was a direct mail business. It taught me so much. It gave me victories, and it gave me tremendous disastrous feelings at the day's end. You know, you become stronger, right?
Right.
I make a distinction between productive failures and non-productive successes. A productive failure is when we don't do well, we dissect it, we analyze it, we look at it incisively, we extract from it learnings, and we become better next time. Non-productive success, we don't know why we succeeded, and so we can't replicate it. And so life has a way of punishing us, but also lifting us up if we only allow ourselves to do that. And so turning point for me was my dad died. Turning point number 2, I came to America in search of the American dream. Listen, Glenn and Mindy, so many people today, when I was on CNBC not too long ago, and they want to argue the point with me that the American dream is dead. And I go, it depends how you define it. The American dream in my book is defined as the achievement of your own goals. It's not about having a big house and a big car. If you want that, that's great. But the American dream is about achieving your own goals. How else would you explain to a person who goes to college 4, 5, 6 years to become a teacher, and they know they're going to be overworked and underpaid? They want to teach third grade. You can look at that person eyeball to eyeball and say, you have not achieved the American dreams. Who has the right to make such judgment? So I came here in search of the American dream. I believe the streets of America are paved with gold. And that was a turning point for me. And then lots of stories like in your own life happened to me. And from each one, I learned a very important lesson. My life is pregnant with these anecdotal happenings that I believe are inspired. Things don't just happen by accident. There's a reason why stuff happens to us in life. And we can dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up, and start all over again. And that's been really my life, kind of your life as well. And so, you know, all the way up to these lovely books you have in front of you, all the way up in 2005, you know, like you, I was very successful. I had 4 or 5 companies. I owned some significant things in my life, and you know, it's amazing how your alma mater begins to recognize you. You know, when you've done a thing or two, and they wanted me to be the chairman of the board of trustees at High Point University. That was what's going to happen. But High Point University was working well. It had no financial resources. It had $120 million deferred maintenance, and so my buddies on the board really basically convinced me and sort of pushed me to come and try to fix the school. And I promised I'll come for 2 years, and my kids had to take over some of my business interests, and I was supposed to be here 2 years. This is my 19th.
19.
Well, didn't you? I mean, just alone to show your impact of what your story is, you raised like $20 million in the first, what, 30 days?
Well, what happened was when I came here, you know, we didn't have any money. So I said, this is my first day on the job. I said, I got to go raise $10 million just to paint a couple of walls and fix a couple of bricks. And I'm giving myself 60 days to do it. And half the time I came back, said we raised double the money, $20 million. Since then, Mindy, I've raised about $1 billion here.
I don't doubt it.
And we created.
Who could say no to you, though? Who could really say no to you? Does anyone say no? Does anybody say no to you? Maybe your wife, but does anyone?
Yes, there was a girl when I was a junior in college, Mindy.
There you go.
Oh, there was one.
We all remember that one that got away, don't we?
Yeah.
So I love your philosophy about not living in the past, because I think a lot of people that don't go anywhere stay in the past and don't allow them to move forward. And you have a quote kind of in that realm about the past.
Yeah. Well, the past is, you know, the yesterdays of your life are gone forever. The past is a wonderful place to remember. It allows a place to live. You have to have a future view. You have to think about the tomorrows of your life, and you have to prepare for it. And so, you know, here I am, right? And I got to tell you, in the last 18 years, I have been around, you know, the block a couple of times in my life. I've never had more fun. I've never felt more fulfilled. I've never felt more impactful. Thousands upon thousands of students have gone through the hallways of this university to learn. I've had a chance to inspire them. I teach the freshman class, by the way. All 1,500 students take my class in the fall every Thursday.
Really?
talk about leadership and fiscal literacy and, stewardship and all those things. So it's been a lot of fun. Glenn, you love numbers. Let me give you a couple of statistics. So when I came here, our revenues were 28 million. Now we're pushing $500 million. We had $120 million in deferred maintenance. Today we have zero deferred maintenance. We have 3 academic schools, Mindy. Now we have 13, including engineering, law, dental medicine, pharmacy, tough schools. We had 1,400 students. Today we have 6,000. We have net assets of $50 million today, 1.3 billion. If you got to come here, I got to make sure you come here. I think it will shock you how beautiful the campus is.
Oh no, I've heard the most incredible things about the campus.
Books, and we've got
They're
your High Point
spectacular.
University book, and looked through it, and we've seen a lot of videos. You know what's
And one
interesting?
of our daughter's friends has applied. I don't know. Did she get in? Did she get in?
She was
deciding.
There are leaders that come through education, and then there are the entrepreneurial kind of leaders. You remind me very much of a gentleman over here, and I think I've talked to you about him, Jim Doty, who
I know Jim very well. Yes,
Jim,
Chapman, and
Yeah.
he thinks a lot like you, right? Which was to embrace your community and get them to see the potential in these students and what they can do and be leaders in the future. And because you both have lived very similar lives, the average tenure of a president is short, right? You guys both, but blown away that. I mean, you're approaching 20 years. You're at 19 years right now, right? Or almost 19. And and you look at what you've done and the impact you made from a regional, college to this national university now. It's phenomenal, and I think a lot of that, because your skill, at least the way I think of it, is more entrepreneurial thinking, right? You know what you got to do to dig in, and having that kind of a mind. And again, no knock on the on the academia style of leaders, because they have a different
the mindset's a little
different gift to give as well. But having someone of your kind of
success
mindset helps to really grow a university. And look at what you've done in less than 20 years, to your point. And that's when I look at what you're able to do, because it's here. You said this in the beginning about the book, and hey, that's all great. Same thing with what you've done. It's wonderful, your stats, but look at how many kids you're able to impact, right? That's the place that you're able to go. And then to go do that at Horatio Alger even more sets us all up for I think something that we all can look at and feel real warm and wonderful feelings about being able to help these kids.
Is there a why? Is there a why in your heart that exists to say, why is helping the next generation so important to you? Why do you do this?
Yeah, because my life has been influenced directly by a set of heroes and models and mentors. Heroes are people I may have met, may have only read about in their autobiographies. Models are people I want to learn from and emulate behaviorally and intellectually and socially. And mentors are the ones who hold you by the hand, who say, let me show you how to do this better. Mentors are the ones you go to and say, I thought I could do it, but it didn't work out. What did I miss? And the mentor, hugs you figuratively and says, well, there's a better way. And let me show you from my own experience. So when we have been at the receiving end of such kindness and such stewardship, then I think we have a duty to pass it on. And look, I don't believe in giving back. I really don't. I think giving back misses the point. It's like saying, I owe the bank some money and I got to give it back. I helped start a bank back in '85. A couple of guys and I did. We sold it. I served today 33 years on the board of 6th largest financial institution in the country called Truist, and 600 billion.
BB&T, right?
Yeah, BB&T and SunTrust, the M&A there. So the truth of the matter is that we're all the products of life itself. William Barker, the Scottish theologian, said it beautifully. He said, always give without remembering, always receive without forgetting. And as I grow older, I acknowledge and realize that therein lies wisdom. If all we have is information, which is what happens with academia sometimes, Glenn, if all we have is information, people will use us and discard us. If all we have is knowledge, people will call upon us only when they need us. Think about your dentist. You're not sitting there thinking about your dentist, but if your tooth are hurting, all of a sudden you think about your dentist. But if what we have is wisdom, people respect us. That's why it's important to write the book, because what you're doing is you're imparting wisdom. Oh, sure, there's some flavoring of information and knowledge, of course, but the essence of it is wisdom, the wisdom of one's life. And when you have wisdom, people respect you. And I found in my own life that if people can only trust me and respect me, I mean, Mindy, seriously, fundraising is all about trust. It's all about someone saying, I believe in you, man. And, I've been very fortunate. I've been able to raise more than 30 some gifts in the $25-30 million range and up.
Wow.
That's significant money for Harvard. It may not be, but for Hype University, that's plenty. And so Chapman, that's plenty. Trust me, those gifts are not lying on the side of the road. But it's all about trust, and it's all about interpretation of value. It's all about explaining to someone that the value that you render will be appreciated by them based on their needs, goals, fears, and aspirations. Everything we do in life must be focused on the other person. If I know what your needs, goals, aspirations, and fears are, then I can be so valuable in your life if I know how to communicate that and build a bridge of understanding with you. But if I'm focused on my own needs, goals, aspirations, and fears, I'm not going to be the steward that I can be. So I believe in giving, not giving back, just giving, and giving until it feels good. You can't outgive God, that we know, but it feels good. And I've been blessed because of it. I can't, like you guys, I can't explain the blessings of my life. I don't know how in the world can I come to experience all that,
Nido, you exist with such a, really, to be cliche, an attitude of gratitude. And I think that exudes who you are. And I think, and for anyone, the more grateful you are, you attract so many more blessings in your life. And it's not doing it to get blessings, but you just do it and it happens.
And I'll tell you, I think, again, coming from the background that you've come from, and mine as well. And again, the thread that runs common through Horatio Alger, and what this podcast is called, Grit Happens, what the book is about, integrity, right? And a lot of the people that listen to this podcast and are going to read the book are people that aren't the people that maybe have already just blown away all their goals and everything. They're the people struggling, the people that are wondering how they're going to do it. And what happened with you, me, and again, a lot of the people that we know is it's not easy. It is hard to get and have your dreams and goals in mind and get to them, and so by being able to plant those seeds, by being able to explain to people, when you see all the nice, shiny objects that come with this success, that's not it. There's a lot of pain and struggle and a lot of other things that come along with that, and that's the stuff a lot of people don't get to see. You don't see the sacrifices that you make. I'm curious, because again, you've been very successful, but tell me a couple of the times when you're sitting there going, oh crap, like, I don't know if I'm going to pull myself out of this one, because I tend to do a lot of that on this podcast, is expose my flaws, because I'm trying to reach into people and get them to realize no one has a perfect life. Nobody has it easy, that it comes with a lot of hard work and grit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful question, because I've discovered in life that nobody I know has 100% self-esteem. We all have a degree of our personhood that still questions our capacity to deal with it all.
Amen.
I think that's the way God made us, Glenn, because if we were complete people in every way, we might be very arrogant. We might think we're really on the world. I think it is good to sort of be in search of significance while we are on the journey of success. And so there are many, many times in my life when I question something, but I question it on both ends. And that's an important point I want to make. I question sometimes, I think you'll accept the spirit with which I offer it, because I'm sure you're that way. I question sometimes how smart I am. I go, how did I get to be so smart? How do I know how to solve this problem? Where did I learn how to deal with this difficulty? It seems like it's an easy passage for me. Where did that come from? So I question that. I want to learn. How did I learn to do all these things? Because nothing in my life professionally is that difficult for me. You know, I've been exposed to great minds. I've been on big boards. It's not really difficult. The difficult part is the human touch, is understanding the people we work with, and in the process, understanding ourselves. Glenn and Mindy, when I first came to America, my greatest fear was money, because my daddy died, left my mom with a lot of debt. My mom was not educated. She had to become a seamstress. She had to make us, you know, a buck here and a buck there to feed us and clothe us. My mom never said, we can't afford that. She always said, you know, being poor is a temporary condition. You will figure out a way to get there. But I admit, I was very afraid. I didn't want to be poor. Money represented to me a passage to comfort and convenience and safety. So I'm sorry to admit this, but for many years of my life, I just cared about accumulating, you know, material wealth. And I wanted to build businesses that can have sustainability so that I can be safe. But then I discovered life is not all about that. There's nothing wrong with having money and material things, a beautiful place at the beach, and all these things that you want to have in life. But there's going to be more. And the more has to do with what we do to make our world a better place. The reason I love your book is because it's going to influence many people. And I'm going to disagree with you just a bit there, Glenn. You said this book is for people who may be struggling and like, no, I think this book is for everybody. I like to think I'm a successful person. I'm intrigued by the book. I can't wait to just get down the beach in the morning and sit on my deck and just read the book from beginning to end, because I'm inspired by it. I'm not struggling, Glenn, but it will do a lot for me. Sometimes we have to take a recess to reassess. I don't care who we are, how successful we are. Sometimes we find wisdom and a gem of truth in somebody else's passage in life. So I think it's okay to question ourselves. I think it's okay to be afraid. I think it's okay to, you know, get up early in the morning as I do. I'm an early riser between 3 and 4 in the morning. I study every morning for 3 hours. And I read, I study, I love to read good books. And I question myself, you know, am I the right person for this? Can I do this? Like you guys, I get a ton of invitations to do, okay, chair this, do this, you know, come speak there. And, you know, you get to a point in your life when you want to say, well, does it matter if I were to do that? There's that activity. I'm not into time management, I should tell you. I have a different way of thinking about things. For example, I think time management is meaningless because there are 24 hours of the day, and guys like us could sleep 4 or 5 hours. So we have 20 hours a day. We could do a lot of stuff. Life is about energy management. Do I invest my energy in this activity, right? It's a different way to think. A lot of people say, well, I want to become a good problem solver. I don't think like that. I want to be a great solution finder. It's a completely different way to think. Some people think about success. I think about significance, inherent insignificance of some success, but it's a different way to think about life. And some people think about value, rendering value. I think that's meaningless. Everybody renders some degree of value. I think about appreciated value. Will the value that I render make impact on the person for whom I render it? Otherwise, you know, the example I give is, what if I were to give someone 2 first-class tickets to go to Maui for a week, all expenses paid? But if that person is afraid to fly, the tickets have value, but to that person, they don't have appreciated value, right? That's the difference. Right. So I think it's okay to sit back and go, you know, can I do better? I heard somebody, maybe I should be the first person to go there and say, Glenn, I'm sorry, I overstepped. I'll take responsibility. I want to learn to do better. Am I doing enough in giving? You know, because I do have a foundation, a gift scholarship. We educate 800 students in our foundation over the years. But you know what, guys? You can't outgive God. The more you give, the more you get, as long as you don't give, so you will get. Enjoy the gifts, keep your eyes on the giver, because someday we're gonna die. This is just, I hope people watching us and
No
listening to
one's getting out alive.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting out alive.
we're
It's
gonna die.
a,
And you know the bad news? The bad news is the size of our funeral is going to depend on the weather. If it's a sunny day, ain't nobody coming. They're gonna be playing golf. So let's not take ourselves too seriously. That's why I
That's
love
right.
the word grit, 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 grit. Yes.
There's a lot of grit, and your story is such a testament to grit, overcoming grit, and living with integrity. I want to I noticed at the Horatio Alger Association this year there was a lot of emphasis on the word integrity, which was really exciting to see that because with the timing in the book
Timing.
was fun. Glenn's always got really good timing. It's just how it works. But in
I got
your
some
opinion,
timing. Sometimes it's bad timing, but I've got timing.
he's got some timing. In your personal opinion, define the word integrity. What does that mean to you, and who has it, and who? And how
Yeah.
do you lose it? How do you get it? Can you have just a little bit, or is it all or none?
Integrity is different than honesty, right? I can be honest and not have integrity. Integrity defines the way I live, the way I treat others, the way I make commitments, the way I honor those commitments. Integrity defines the personhood of an individual. We love people with great integrity because they become trustworthy. They're the kind of people we want to partner with, want to be associated with. I know a lot of people who are honest, but don't necessarily give of themselves. Integrity is this all-encompassing, it's a frame around the Mona Lisa. And the Mona Lisa has many, many pieces of it, like honesty and good values and all of that. So integrity, the way I define it is the way you live, honoring the other person while you attempt to move onward and forward in life.
I
Close to what? Do you agree with that? Disagree with that?
I
Print
agree with that.
I love it.
And it's funny, people, I've often said, oh, that person, they have a dark cloud around their life. They've always had this dark cloud, or other people are so lucky. They've got a golden touch with everything. And what I've come to find is that you plant your seeds along the way, and
Planting Seeds of Greatness. Is that what this book
there
is
you
called?
go.
Planting Seeds of Greatness from High Point University.
Exactly. And so by doing that, and I'll give you two examples. One is, in my personal career, as there were 1,000 times when people decided they wanted to leave the organization or whatever, and we have opportunities with commissions. Well, it becomes the company's. But you know what? You earned it and you keep it. Now, so many of these companies go, now it's mine. You're out. Thank you, but you're done. We say, look, thank you for bringing that in. And we continue to pay you. The door is open, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
But, this
Wow.
kind of stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so when you live your life and you make sure you say, I want to do the honorable thing. By the way, when no one's looking, you still want to do the honorable thing.
Yeah.
And then one day, something will come back, and the world, 2007 and 8, the world blows up, in the financial world. And then there are people out there that you have touched along the way, and either you touched them with a stick and you hit them, or you touched them and you really helped them. And that's when people, either they catch you or they let you fall, right? And so then you can say, wow, you either have bad luck or good luck. You have a dark cloud, or no, you don't. You planted seeds your whole life, and people are there for you when you need them. And I don't mean to bail you out with money. I mean, maybe it's just advice. Maybe it's, but people are there, or they watch you fall because you deserve it in their mind, right? But they just back off. And so to me, when I think about how you live your life, and if you live it pure and you want to give to others, the more you give, the more you get, as you say. I truly believe that. And then one day, when you're not expecting it, you just may need that little nudge in the right direction. I had one of my sons, and I think I talked about this, and I'm going to talk about it again. he got in a little trouble at school, and the girl didn't get in trouble that he was with. And I said, "Is it fair, son?" And he says, "I don't know, maybe." And I said, "I think it's fair. And I'll tell you why." I said, "You had like 10 little demerits over the last couple of years. Your tie wasn't on right. Your hair wasn't cut. Your collar, these things, they meant nothing. They were small little nicks. She was on the honor roll, had never had a demerit. So when they looked at you, these things that meant nothing, but they're 10 little nicks, let's get him in trouble. You looked at her, that was her first time. That is all you can call it. Lots of different things that you want to call it, but that's the kind of things in life, right? So when you have integrity and you stand strong in your conviction in life, then you have an opportunity when the time is right for people to either be behind you and be with you alongside of you, or they don't stand there and with you, and that to me is a lot of what living is I want on my deathbed. I'd love to have a lot of people out there.
He wants a party. He wants
I want
everyone
a
there, not at
party.
the golf course.
Hey, come on over and say
There's
say
going to be a
goodbye.
hole in one today. The
Glenn,
hole
make
in
sure-
one is my casket in the grave.
Make sure you give me an advance notice so I can be there.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
I'll
right.
let you know if I'm,
But I don't
yeah,
want-
you have
do
a
that.
plan
I
for it.
don't
Yeah.
want them going playing golf. I want them to
Yes.
come,
Yes. So Glenn, here's what you just said to me. What you just described is one of the greatest forecasting methods that could be used in business and in life. It's called patterns. So in grad school, as I'm sure you did the same thing, I learned about statistics and patterns of predictive behaviors. You do it with, behavioral economics, why people buy. You look at patterns. You look at elections, why people vote for certain things. That's called a pattern. I have patterns here for how we enroll students. Who are they? I can predict in advance based on patterns. This is likely what's going to happen, plus or minus 5 or 10%. So what you just said is, when that teacher looked at your son, said the pattern there is that he had these little ups and downs, and therefore another little big, X is okay. The other girl didn't have that pattern, so they cut her some slack. So behaviorally, this happens to all of us. So some people have a pattern of living life with integrity. Some people have a pattern of living life of I win, you lose. Those people we avoid like the plague, because you and I like win-win relationships. I don't want to win and you lose, but I also don't want you to win and I lose. That doesn't make a good relationship. And so, I believe in something called intentional congruence, that every part of your life, that our life is like a jigsaw puzzle. It has all kinds of little pieces. And only when we have all the pieces in the right place so that the puzzle is in fact complete, do we experience true happiness. Happiness that goes way beyond you having your favorite ice cream or being out on the water or, playing golf. And that kind of happiness penetrates your soul, not just your mind or your heart, but your soul. You viscerally, it penetrates you. So you see some people who just live in joy. They live in joy. And we wonder how they do that. It's a remarkable thing. And you look at the pattern of their life and it led to that. So I really believe in these patterns of how we do our day. That's a pattern. How we think, that becomes a pattern. And behavior is also a pattern, whether it's for a salesperson or a student in high school. I just want to tell the two of you that I watched you from afar for a while, and I love you both because you're real and because you represent principles and values I believe in, and because along the path of life you had to swim across some wide chasms, and you had to travel across some rocky bridges, but you also went up to the mountaintop. You also flew high. You also experienced ecstasy in life and living. And I believe that life is best lived when you experience all that. If you only knew one pattern, then you don't understand, the rest of it. And therefore your sense of gratitude and appreciation, that sense is diminished. right?
Right.
And so I just respect you for what you do. I love the fact that you are speaking to groups. I see you on social media, teaching, usually a little snippet that makes a lot of difference. It's very compelling. I need to tell you, you have a different style than mine. I speak fast. I'm high energy and all that. Your style
You
is
know
more,
English very well. You know
Yeah,
English.
I
You
don't know
know the
English that
English
well.
language very
For
well.
someone who didn't know it growing up, I
Yeah.
supposedly was taught it from the day I was born, but I still don't know it very well.
You know it a lot better, Nido.
yeah, but you have a style that is authentic. So authenticity above charisma any day of the week,
Yeah.
because that's part of integrity. So when you have authenticity, I believe you. And when I believe you, I begin to trust you. When I begin to trust you, I want to get closer to you. When I get closer to you, we begin to do good things together. And so that's really what I mean by circle of influence. I tell people, your circle of influence, the bigger it is, the smaller your circle of concerns is going to be.
Mm.
Because whatever comes to you in life, good, bad, or indifferent, you've got somebody in your circle of influence who can protect you and guide you. And I know about some of those in your own life because you've talked about them and you've written about them. And that's really powerful. We are as rich as the people we hang around with. My mother used to say to me, who you spend time with is who you become. She would say, what you choose is what you get. How you change is how you succeed. Life is about transformation. How do we transform ourselves? I wouldn't want people to say, Nido's speaking the same way you spoke. I mean, I spoke 8,000 times, that, professionally all over the world. And people used to buy tickets and stand in line and buy all my materials. Oh, I've been around that block. I understand that business quite well. But I wouldn't want him to say, well, he's using the same stuff he used 15 years ago. That means I'm not growing. I'm not transforming myself. Incidentally, Glenn and Mindy, on the campus of High Point University in High Point, North Carolina today, I'm hosting the board of directors, board of trustees of the National Speakers Association in where I've played, I think a pretty
We're the founder of that, yes.
So I'm having dinner with them tonight. You would be a phenomenal person for me to interview in front of them, because that's a really good circle for you as well. That's composed of lots of agents who book speakers and lots of people who write books and talk about you, and also can help in whatever it is one is trying to do. And every year what I do, this year, for example, I have St. Marshall, my friend who runs Mark Cuban's operations.
Yeah.
I have Mark Randolph, who co-founded Netflix, as you know. Tony Atalla, who's the world's leading regenerative medicine expert. You get the idea.
That's an incredible lineup.
Last year I had Bill Kennard, who was chairman of AT&T. He was the first African American to become U.S. ambassador and head of FTC. And so you would be intriguing. Speakers would be very intrigued to hear you. Now, Mindy, of course, lived her life in the communication world.
That's right.
She's very comfortable. She's very comfortable on the stages of the world. But you would be, that's part of your service is to do things like that. I find that I'm a little more jealous now where I invest my energy. So I used to get 1,000 invitations a year to speak. So I kept raising fees. And yes, there were less that brought it through the funnel, but the ones I was doing were really impactful. I started speaking to 5,000, 10,000 people.
Wow.
And it had tremendous impact, right? So one has to invest their energy in a circle of influence that has a bountiful opportunity for spreading the word or planting the seeds, as you said, Mindy, or helping to grow people. In other words, when you want this book to be read by a person, and that person goes to 5 of their friends and say, you gotta read this book. You gotta read this book. It'll change your life. That's where our ministry, I don't use it necessarily in a spiritual way, but it is spiritual what we do, that our ministry grows. It has no boundaries. As Jack Welch used to say, boundaryless company, right? You want to have a boundaryless impact in what you do. Otherwise, we live in a tiny little world. Zig Ziglar was one of my very good buddies.
Oh, I love him.
We used to be in the same platforms, and Zig would say to me, Nido, your business is grossing about a quarter. My business is doing, I'm losing money. You're making a lot of money. How does that work? And I said, well, Zig, because you, and I'm not critiquing it. This is just a reality. You like to speak to all these large audiences of people who are wonderful, lovely, but don't necessarily have extended
Networks.
network and so on.
Yeah.
I mostly speak to corporations that have tremendous impact. If I can inspire a CEO to do something, they can put significant resources behind it and go do it in a big way. And so that's where I see you. And you're already doing it. And I don't honestly, Glenn and Mindy, I don't know what your ultimate goal is, but whether you like it or not, you're going to have impact. People are going to follow you. People are going to believe you. People are going to learn from you. And when you least expect it, in the darkness of the night and in the most lit corridors of the world, they are going to do amazing things, right? And so, and that's your pay. That's your pay.
That's more valuable than any dollar you can give me. Thank you.
I would take you up anytime that you would like to get together and try to, if it's one of those speaking opportunities, please, I'm there. And what I believe is the people, you hit on the same kind of concept we have. I call it balcony people and basement people, though, right?
Yeah,
Where,
yeah.
when you're with your balcony friends, the ones that lift you up, and you also know when you're with people that are going to bring you down, and it's up to us to decide who we want to be with. You, my friend, are one of our balcony friends, and I truly appreciate you and everything.
Thank you
that
for
you do.
giving some energy to us today and allowing us to share in your energy sphere.
You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. And you make a great couple. I mean, you really do. It's meant to be, for sure. You fill each other's, a little piece of the puzzle that needs to be filled. I think that's magnificent. So
we talk about this beautiful, just real quick. I don't know where people can get this, but it is a beautiful.
This is Mindy. We did so much here that every 5 years we update the book to say this is where we were, and this is what we have done. That's what it's about.
Phenomenal publication.
Give it free. Anybody wants that book is listening to you. All they gotta say is, "I'm a friend of Mindy and Glenn."
Look out! Look out!
I'll send them that. The other book, the other book is my wife's book. She created about 30 gardens on campus.
Oh my goodness, the flowers must just be in crazy bloom right now.
All the gardens. Sure about all the gardens at campus.
I cannot wait to come visit. We are
And
very
I'll
excited.
I'll send that to any of your friends with my
I love the tree. I love the tree as the growth, the tree of. You know what, Nido? We could talk for more. I know, because you're so good. B, you have so many nuggets of wisdom. There's so much more. What you have books out? Is there one of your books that you would highly encourage people to read specifically that you're most proud of? I mean, it's hard to say what your favorites are.
Staircase to Success.
Oh, they can go online and they'll see all my kind of stuff. I'm in a stage of my life now where I just I care deeply about helping people.
You're so good.
I'm happy to share, like you're doing. I'm happy to share whatever I know, and I'm happy to sort of spread the good word as you are doing, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing at High Point University. And it's amazing. It's amazing what happens. You're talking about integrity. Integrity lives in one's soul. It emanates activities, therefore, as a result. But then go and NidoQubein.com. Then go to High Point, HIGHPOINT.edu. They can also go to all caps HPU with the sign plus, like mathematical plus.
HPU plus.
Yes, HPU is plus, and that's an app people can download free. It is loaded with interviews I've done with some of the great minds in America. Condoleezza Rice, the chairman of biggest corporations. And Henry Kravis is a name certainly known to you.
KKR, right?
He's coming here on Tuesday and on campus, and I'll be interviewing him live in front of people. And so, it's life is a lovely opportunity to be good, do good, give more, be more, serve more, learn more, grow more. And every day I can't wait to get up and get going.
I
again.
love that. And you're up at 4 a.m. and you read all your emails by the end of the day. You are a freak of nature. I absolutely adore you.
Well, we are honored.
I answer all
honored.
my emails by myself. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and,
incredible.
and I'm enjoying talking to you, but within about 7 minutes on the East Coast, that's cocktail hour. So, you know.
Okay,
There you
well,
go.
you
Well,
get
let's
to
get it
your
going.
high point martini or whatever it is that you have.
We appreciate you
You are
again so
such a
much.
saint. We love seeing you to Horatio
you.
Alger every year, and what a gift you've given us, some time, your energy, and we are honored to consider you in our circle of influence, and thankful for the time and the wisdom you shared today. Thank you,
And, you
and
know,
thank you for the books. Thank you for sharing the books and that, and I hope you enjoy the read. We look forward to hearing your feedback after the
Well,
weekend.
I hope
on the
everybody
beach.
will do what I've done. I've already ordered 500 copies of that book. I'm going to give it to everybody I know, and I may order more and give it to all of our students. And it's not to be nice to you two guys. It's enlightened self-interest. So I believe I learn from it. I believe everybody reads it will learn tremendously from it, and that's my way of helping others as well. But I thank you
Honored.
for your
Thank
time
you,
and your
Nido.
friendship. And God
Thank
bless
you, Nido. Ladies and gentlemen, Nido Qubein of High Point University, an incredible
Thank
human
you.
being. You have been listening to another episode of Say It With Me, Grr, It Happens. Thank you, Nido. We
Thank
will
you.
see you soon. Looking forward to it.